how would you like to make your first million? And today we have a serial entrepreneur with us. His name is Ken Cox, and he's a seasoned entrepreneur and president of the River City Internet Group, offering critical IT services and business solutions to companies worldwide. So, Ken, tell us, yeah, in your opinion, what are the 5 steps of the 5-step process that you recommend entrepreneurs out there in order to make the first million or to get to product market fit?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Their first million? So 5 steps to get their first million. So there's a bunch of different ways to do that. If they're starting their own company, they have their own product, their own service, depending on the cost of the product or service. We'll talk about an IT service, retainer based, that's $3,000 to $10,000 cost, right, to the end user. What I really like doing there is taking some time and getting my InLink profile down. I find my ideal customers, who they might be, or I design them, 5 or 6 of them, right? Who would buy this product from me? Who are those people? And then I would start reaching out to them on LinkedIn, not bulk, very, very specific. Look at their profiles, find their Facebook, find their husband or wife, find some commonalities about them, things that you have in common with them, and then reach out to them and say, hey, I really love what you're doing. I would like to have a no commitment 15-minute meeting. I'd like to hear what you're excited about. I'd like to tell you what I'm excited about. And then just talk 5 minutes to see if there's any synergies at all. Do 5 or 6 of those a day. And if you're focusing on reaching, you're going to reach out to 10 or 20 a day. Your goal is to get 5 or 6 of those 15-minute meetings a day. That is a relationship-based business, 100%. You'll sign retainers. It might take a couple of weeks to get your first one. You'll get a whole lot of no's, right? Ari, do you mind if I tell you my very first cold calling story? I was 19 years old. I really wanted to make movies and film and videos, and I saved up $5,000. This would have been 1996. I was 19 years old. I bought a 3-chip camera. I got some editing equipment, and I was making residential videos for people like Picture to Video, but I really wanted to make commercials. I picked up the Yellow Pages then. The Yellow Pages back then was a book of all the phone numbers in the country or in the city or state or whatever. I opened it. I started calling the very first customer, the very first business in there. I said, hi, my name's Ken. I make videos. I'd love to make you a commercial and put it on local cable stations. I got to pee before I got my first deal, right? I was 19 years old, trying to make videos in the 90s. It was miserable. It took forever. It was probably 2 months before I got my first deal. The deal was specifically because I had some software on my Amiga 1000 computer then that this production company was looking for, and I got the job to assist in the 3D rendering of the Jolt Cola label, right? And that was really the first step in a significant amount of business that I was able to do. And it was literally just grind it out, pick up the phone, knowing what the kind of work that I want to do, and then reaching out to people that might need that kind of work at a high scale. And I think that is, if you do those things, focus on what you love doing and doing it for people that need that kind of work, it's a very simple process.
Finding the first client which is something that is not as easy as people think. And in this podcast, out of the 500 millionaires that we interview, 100 of them are tech entrepreneurs, they are tech billionaires that are exit the company. So I know that you're a serious entrepreneur, and you also one of your businesses involved in tech, more than one. I would like you to share to the tech founders out there, okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the tech businesses, because it doesn't matter what I do. People are listening, and they say, well, you know what? It doesn't matter what Harry said. I'm listening to the podcast. 1 out of 5 guys are tech millionaires. They're making money doing tech. You know what? I'm going to become a tech entrepreneur without knowing exactly what you said, Ken. That is going to take something to find that first client. And also, I've seen tech companies that, okay, they find the first client and they say to that client, you know what? This is my product. Take it or leave it. I'll find somebody else. I'm like, man, this is your first client. I'll tell you a story. You share a story with me, I share one with you. My first business was in property. We managed to sell over 5 million. And so I go and I show the room. And when they show the room, I open the door and the guy said, look, man, this room needs painting. I'm not gonna take it like this. And the guy left. So when the guy left, I went there and I went to the painting shop and I painted my life. I said to the guy, look, give me stuff, I'm gonna paint the room. So the whole evening I paint the room. Next guy come in the morning, open the door. Said, look, this is the room you wanna rent it? And she said, well, I live in London, so the room is a little bit cold. It's clean, but it's cold. So the girl left. I went to IKEA and I bought this duvet with pink, red, and orange. You see, and I painted. And then the third girl arrived, and when I said, "Okay, this is the room," the girl said, "I'll take it." And that was 18 years ago, and I never looked back. So the point is, the product is not what I really wanted to sell and how I wanted to sell is what the market was telling me how they wanted and they're willing to pay. So, Ken, we see a lot of failure. Okay, you tell us based on your experience, honestly, what are the good, the bad, and the ugly of tech businesses? And
Yeah.
what do you recommend to the tech founders out there? Check on reality because you know how it is. People see those founders, they see this company raised millions in AI, whatever, and it's not based on reality. So tell us your opinion.
We're in a wildly different time in 2026 than we've ever seen before in technology. So
Agree.
there's a couple of really cool things happening. I think that if you want to remove this whole moonshot concept of I'm going to make a piece of software that's going to make me super rich, the drop boxes of the world, I think there's going to be a few of them moving forward, but I think there's going to be a whole lot of $1 to $5 million SaaS companies that solve a specific local problem or solve a problem to a specific niche of people. I think that's going to be wildly rampant. The good is that it's super easy to deploy really high-end scalable solutions today. The bad is it's really easy to deploy highly complex solutions today. And a lot of people don't understand the underlying infrastructure, some of how these things work, and some of the unforeseen circumstances, or how to turn bugs into features or features into bugs. Right? They don't have the software backing, and they don't have the business acumen really to understand kanbaning and workforces and workloads and core values and systematic, methodical, and consistent rule sets. Like, they don't have that structure. So the great thing is it's super easy to deploy. The bad thing is it's super easy to deploy. So people are doing it without the business acumen, without the tech acumen. So that's going to put a lot of businesses in a lot of jeopardy, just like the fly-by-night marketing firms have been doing for the last 20 years. The fly-by-night vibe coders are going to put businesses in trouble, right? So whenever you're doing these vibe coding projects and you're hiring somebody, make sure you have somebody that has the business acumen to back it up. They understand the code that's being written. They understand the infrastructure that deploys on, all of those things. The good is it's super easy to do. The bad is, and it's also good, if you can find a way to defend your position in your market that makes it more challenging for somebody else to do the product service that you're deploying, you have a competitive advantage. I believe today that competitive advantage should be whatever you're most passionate about doing. I think in 2026, the passionate entrepreneur that loves the project that he's doing, embraces AI, is the guy that's going to skyrocket, or woman that's going to skyrocket. And business is so hard to do that if this is just something you think is cool that you like doing, the person that's more passionate about it is going to beat you. They're going to stay up the extra half hour with their AI to get that extra half hour programming done, right? So it's a cliche of do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And what I'm saying right now in 2026, that it is not only a good cliche, it is the requirement for you to scale.
And
If you're not passionate about it, you're going to quit.
And it doesn't really work like this. When you start a business at the beginning, you say, I want to make a lot of money. I want to make $1 million. Then, happened to me. I didn't even realize it. My accountant told me. Yeah. And then you say, I'm going to the beach. After 3 days, you're bored and you come back to work. So these things that our listener might have in their mind, like, oh, I'm gonna make this money, gonna retire, gonna be on holiday forever. It doesn't really work like this. Well, if your business actually works, it's because you put, exactly like Ken share, a lot of love, a lot of passion into it, and it become part of your identity. And you cannot be without it, even
Yeah,
unless,
uh,
yes,
I had a good conversation with one of my coaches, and I have a lot of coaches. Um,
that's good. That's
Me
very
to
good.
take the four things that I love the most or that I'm the best at in the world, figure out how to combine those, and I will then have something that I'm super passionate about and something that I can defend that position in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
everybody's got three or four things they
Mm-hmm.
really like, and if they can find a
Mm-hmm.
way to take
Mm-hmm.
those things, for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's boxing,
Mm-hmm.
technology, and AI, business, and comedy, right? Those are my passions in life, and if you
Ah,
can
wow,
find a way,
comedy,
I love
amazing.
comedy.
We can talk about that later. Ken,
Yeah,
Ken,
so if you can take those four things and deploy
mhm,
products, I think you'll be
mhm.
successful in 2026.
Very good. Then Ken, let's talk about this one. Defend your position. I want you to expand a little bit more in this concept because to share with the entrepreneurs what really mean defend your position. Because as you said, tech. Okay, the good thing is that it's easy. The bad thing is also that it's easy, so somebody quickly can come and copy, especially when they realize that you have something that is selling. So then it's when it comes, Ken, marketing and sales as the engine for you to defend your position. And we see in the tech space, well, general, some, but especially in the tech, those entrepreneurs that are not taking marketing and sales seriously, especially on the 0 to 1 product market fit, and then you find that they go there, they start to develop this code, this elephant, because they like coding, they remortgage the house, they took a lot of money, they create a big software, a big piece of engine, and after they exhausted all the resources, then they come and say, Ken, you know what? I need your investment because I'm gonna sell it. And then you're looking at them and say, guys, but how you gonna sell it if you haven't been in front of anybody? And they say, oh, to me, oh, well, Harry, you don't understand. Tech is different. So how different is tech for the traditional business? You that have several, because the more than I see tech nowadays in 2026, the more I see traditional business. If you some this MVP can everybody forget about the M. Nobody creates a minimum viable. They create a huge elephant because they I think they are scared to show the market what they have and what they want, or they are scared, or they don't take marketing and sales seriously. And on the other hand, all those millionaires that been here in this podcast that exit the company successfully, the majority of these tech entrepreneurs, they are either expert on marketing and sales, and those on that no expert in marketing and sales, they are software developer, but they come to a podcast and they spend the whole podcast talking about marketing and sales and how they get the product in front of the people and how much they charge and all the setbacks they have to get that product. So can tell us how seriously in the tech space and in business in general, especially this 0 to 1 million, which is basically marketing and sales side, um, how serious those entrepreneurs should be taking this in that stage of the business.
Yeah, I think you can do one or two, a couple different ways to defend the position. If you're a SaaS company, pure SaaS, the only way that I know how to defend that position, there's a couple different ways. Have a data set that's hard to get a hold of or expensive to get a hold of. However, I think AI democratizes that completely so that you can kind of throw that one away. Have a functionality that nobody else has. Well, AI can write any program in a couple of minutes now, right? So that's kind of out of the way. So then the last two that I'm aware of is have a name like Google or a name that they're just going to defaultly go to, right? We can get in their subconscious and they just go to it. And I am the that one for that particular topic. I am the Xerox of copies, or, I'm not going to use my competitor's name here, but, there's a couple hosting companies that are the hosting company, right? So, being that one is really, really important now, especially in a world of for the next 5 years, I think, until we
Mhm,
segregate a
mhm,
lot of these businesses and separate it back
mhm,
out to right now we're
mhm,
very centralized businesses. I think humanity needs to take some of those back. Um, then the last one is the relationship, right? They know me. They know that they can trust me. They know that they can call
Mm-hmm.
me at 3 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
in the morning. If you're my client, I'm going to be there
Mm-hmm.
for you in your business when your
Mm-hmm.
business is struggling, because those things are important to businesses. And I don't know a business that's been around for more than 10 years or 5 years that hasn't been burned by a tech firm or a marketing firm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I can tell you that I don't have a single client for 25 years that would tell you that I left them hanging. I've had some
Mm-hmm.
disagreements with customers, but I've never
Like
walked out on a
100%.
client and left, when the business was there. We've always found the resources for them. So I think, in SaaS, the only differentiator you have is the founder's story and the founders and the staff's relationships.
I
That's
agree
it.
100%. I agree
Everything else is
100%.
a market test. How I do it is I own the data center. It's my building.
Mm-hmm.
You have servers that need to run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, be secured,
Wow.
have a generator, have a battery. You can put them in my building. I've put
Mm-hmm.
up to $10 million and it costs to build that for companies. They can rent little
Oh, wow.
slices of it from me,
Wow.
right? So if you have to need to run 24/7, have somebody that can reboot them 24 hours a day, babysit them, then why defend my position in hosting?
Hmm.
However, even in hosting, in
Hosting is
data deployments,
competitive. Very big players. Oh, wow.
25 years ago it was way different. I could play with the ebbs and flows of power and the ebbs and flows of bandwidth. But now IT loads they spike. It's commoditized now. There's no dips. There's nowhere to make money. So it's
Mm-hmm.
only the
Mm-hmm.
very slim
Yeah.
margins, right? It's a different world that
Let's
we live in.
expand
And
on this, Ken, because you see, when WhatsApp, I remember the text message company went there. There were lot of different applications that do exactly the same. There were MVP like, however, they defend the position with branding. Okay, they develop a powerful brand, exactly what you share that story, and the name. Okay, WhatsApp, and they could defend the position because they build the brand. Now you brought something interesting up that there are two things of the component of defending brand, like you share. One is the name and the company itself, but the second is the personal brand attached to this business. You never let the clients down. You never let them hang around. This is something about the person behind that business. So it's not only the corporate brand that you have to develop in order to position. You also have to develop a personal brand. Now that personal brand goes with values, because if you don't care about your clients or whatever, well, you won't have the millions you have now. You know what I mean? So it's of branding. So what is a brand, Ken? Because I'm saying, okay, branding, corporate brand and personal brand, but can you break it down in something more digestible to our audience? What is it? How you did it? How come
yeah,
after 25 years you have a position in that space, let's say hosting, which is extremely competitor, and the players that are in that space, they have millions to like a garage, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
still you have your position there. So how you manage to do this, and is it possible also in 2026 for someone starting right now to achieve the same thing, or things have changed?
I apologize. The core question is,
The question is personal brand and corporate brand,
how do you
how
do that? Okay,
how you do it to define your position.
all right. I wish this was taught more in school, right? And this is a huge thing that I'm working on right now. What I write about, my book Reclaim Sobriety, is about my sobriety journey. But really, when you come down to the core of it, it's about self-identity and identity. And it's something that we don't talk about a lot through school because we're trying to teach people how to be part of a system and a group, right? And over years and decades of learning and coaching and going to flow coaching and learning neuroscience and doing all these things, the realization I finally came to is that a human needs two things to be wildly successful in any domain on the planet. The first one is to adopt the identity of the person that you're trying to become, whatever that is. If I want to be a boxer, I start saying I'm a boxer, right? I develop or if I want to be a comedian, I say I'm a comedian. I stop saying I'm trying to be. I stop saying that language. I just start committing to the thing that I'm going to start doing. I develop a set of core values for that particular persona. I read them every single day until I embody them. I read them loud and proud. I yell them. right? I've got them written. When I coach my students, I read their core values loud and proud, right? The last two are always imagine where you want to be in life and believe that you can get there. The language that we use is wildly important. Those are the two things that I think you absolutely have to have. The third thing is harder, and that's removing negative influence from your life, right? It's really challenging to be positive all the time. And we know there's negative. We know that any minute something could happen. The government could change the rules and we could be out of business like that. We got to find a whole new way to build everything. Like, we know all that's true, right? We've lived through it. They shut us down at COVID. They're like, hey, you can't even do business for 3 months. This happens. We know about it. There's times to have those risk meetings. There's people to do that. But if you allow negative thinking people into your life that are going to talk negative and use non-definitive language like, oh, we'll try to do that, then that is a toxicity that will chisel away the foundation under your feet at such a rate, you won't even know what's happening. And you'll constantly feel like you're on loose dirt and you're trying to climb a hill that you can't ever get footing. You'll never know why, but it's these tiny little negative nitbits that are floating around in your universe and are just taking that energy away from you.
Yeah. Ken, regarding this, when I started my first business, there is entrepreneurs in my family. I was the and everybody around me, I got a degree in chemical engineering. So everybody around me would say, why you don't find a job as an engineer? Or why you don't, you shouldn't be doing this. So I have a degree of uncertainty because I want to try something different. And the people by me, my parents, my friends, their friends, the first time that I opened the business, I went out with the friends. Everybody would say, oh, I did this in my job. I did this. When I say, guys, I opened this business. It's amazing. Nobody cares. So I realized that I'm losing my friends. My family is telling me, find a job, find a job, find a job. That's why my parents are teachers. So that's what I know. So then I have a degree of uncertainty there. And on top of that, as you know, starting your first business, when you don't know anything, is this process is your first client finding expanding. You don't know anything. I didn't even know what marketing was until the 4th year. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
posting my rooms in Gumtree and I was renting it, and after 4 years I learned, oh, that's marketing. Oh, that's my marketing strategy. I was doing it by trial and error, basically,
Yeah.
because I didn't have anybody to lend to. So, and then this uncertainty, you become a little bit insecure as well. The problem with that is you bring people to your organization that reflection of you without knowing. You just don't know. So now your own insecurity, the people you surrounded yourself, they are also insecure, and it's really really difficult. So then I have, for example, an incident when some employee they stole money from me, right? So then I realize I'm bringing toxic people to the organization. This is what's happening. Okay, so let's reframe. And until I had to hire my sales director, the girls that were better than me and everything. And one day I arrived to the office and they told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you here. Try the work if you want. We can grow this company without you. And everything runs in autopilot, but it was a tough, difficult process. I said to you, very easy, but you actually know what it takes. And I realized
So
that
hard.
I had to work on myself first, and I know where to go or what to do. And if I'm negative, if I'm insecure, then I take decisions that will impact the business. And I learned that in the hard way, lose a lot of money several times. So when do you realize that, hold on a minute, it's not the business, it's me. These people to organization because I brought them. And if I want different kind of people, I have to change. And how you start and where do you find help? Because entrepreneurs, we have something. Yeah, we have that ego. We think that we can do better. Otherwise, we won't be entrepreneurs, right? So that ego is always there. So we had to surrender somehow that ego and say, you know what? I had to. So when was the key that you realize, hold on a minute, I really, if I want to own multiple business, I want to become a millionaire, and I want to help entrepreneurs. Do this podcast we have to and share my experience to help entrepreneurs. I had to become a different me. When do you have that realization, and what happened?
Yeah, I saw the time, man, why didn't anybody tell me when I was younger? And then I really think about it, I'm like, oh, I can recognize people with times where people tried to tell me. I wasn't ready to hear it. I couldn't hear what they were saying in those times. So I think it's experience,
100%. 100.
what you have to go through. For me, that experience came in a time where I had a gym. I was training kids. Doctors have this learn, teach, do, that kind of mentality. And so I was teaching kids a skill set that I had, boxing, and I developed core values for them, and we were reading them and doing that stuff, and they're really excelling. The team is growing, and I'm growing when I'm with the team, right? There's no doubt about that. But I'm still not living to those core values in my life. I'm living those core values in that ecosystem, right? But I kind of thought, oh, that's that ecosystem, and I'm a
Wow,
man.
that's
I can do
interesting.
whatever I want when
Oh,
I leave,
wow, interesting.
right? And it clicked until there was a night I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I was coming home from Podfest. I was driving through Atlanta, Georgia, or Taylor County, Georgia. I lost mindfulness. I was listening to the radio. I turned up the music and I rolled the windows down and I started speeding. I wasn't paying attention. I got pulled over in Georgia going 98 and a 60. I'm a medical cannabis user in Missouri, which I didn't know was wildly illegal in Georgia. And I got to spend 2 weeks
Oh,
as a
wow,
resident
interesting.
there.
Wow.
And, I got out and I thought about drinking that day. I didn't. And I was like, I'm such an idiot that I've taught these kids how to overcome and change their lives. And it's my lives in so many ways, but I'm not adopting the things that I'm telling them to adopt in their lives. I need to adopt those. I need to become
Mm,
what we
mhm,
call them as a box STL gladiator. I need to become the
mhm.
gladiator of my life. I need to be able to live my life
100%.
without all this emotional armor and live my
Mm.
life in a clean, free way. And I made
Do you
that
have
decision.
any
And
entrepreneurs in your family? Any
Harry,
entrepreneurs in your family?
I'm adopted. And I can tell you that I can recall walking into the house late at night my entire childhood. My parents would be sitting on the couch watching some crappy TV show, talking about the business that they wanted to start, going to their factory job, going to their restaurant job, talking about the business that they want to start so that they can be their own person. My stepdad, Ron, about 2 years before he passed away, finally made the decision to start a courier business. He bought a van,
Wow.
he started
Wow.
couriering, and I'll tell you that I think it was the best 2 years of his life that I ever knew him. And it was definitely the best 2 years of our relationship together in our lifetime, right? Because he had something that I could understand. He wasn't,
Wow.
I could see the man get up every day and go to do something he didn't want to do, right?
Mhm.
And I saw this repeatedly, and I'm like,
Mm,
why? Why are
mm,
you doing this? This is horrible.
mm,
Like, I could not comprehend it as a child, and I
mhm,
can't comprehend it as an adult. Why you would
mhm,
wake up and walk into a position every single day of your life, something you don't want to do.
mhm.
And I'm so excited in 2026 that I truly believe that you have an option now. That the bar has been lowered so much that if you want to be your own boss and make
Mhm.
$50,000 to $250,000 a year selling SpongeBob SquarePants stuff, you can do it.
100%.
You
With
can do
the
that right now and make a good living doing the thing that you love doing with the
mhm.
technology that we have
And
in
have a
our hands
lifestyle
today.
business. I have a lifestyle business where you just have a business that support your great lifestyle. So then, Ken, I'm asking you a question because what happened to me in that story that I told you. Okay, part number A. Yes, I went to the office and then our manager said, "Harry, go home because we don't need you. We'll expand this company." But then you know what happened? I'm inside room watching movies every day, making all this money without doing nothing. My head is there is something wrong with me. What I'm here making all this money without doing anything. The business is gonna collapse. I need to do something. And then every day, after 3 months of watching movies in a dark room, I open the door. I go to Brick Lane in London. I open a restaurant. I lost 200,000 pounds. So everybody, a lot of people talk about success. Nobody take no. A lot of people talk how to deal with failure. Nobody talk how to deal with success. I didn't thought that I deserved this. That was not enough to this. There are actually something wrong. And right that traveling the world, invest in property, something that I like, or enjoy my life, and and pat my shoulder for what I accomplished in the very 4 hard years to get product market fit and to sell the million. You know how hard it is. I still was uncomfortable with that. And then I go and I sabotage myself, which I think is kind of parallel with the story that you shared with your gym. The gym was doing amazing, the kids were doing amazing, everything, the business is growing. However, on the other side, you are sabotaging yourself for no reason, and you don't even understand why. I don't read a lot of research on that because it happened to me. And I realized that, all these insecurities that we have at the beginning, all this negative emotion, they get stored. And even if we make that million, if we don't work on ourselves to canalize this path, we're gonna take a wrong decision. We're gonna jeopardize ourselves. We're gonna open the business. It was hard for me to find out this because how I life gave me a big slap on the face, and this is how I started to get interested in this topic because I'm thinking, well, there is something really wrong with me. Why I'm doing this to my life to spend or to open this business. I spent 2 years of my life, Monday to Sunday, without seeing my parents, without traveling, without anything, for nothing. I have a healthy business that was doing great. I didn't
Yeah.
even need to go there. So, Ken, a little bit more in this topic. In terms of mindset, in terms of self confidence, in terms of those negative emotions, because I'm glad that you work on this because you know what happened? This negative emotion, emotional pain can become physical pain. People end up with cancer. How many entrepreneurs you see there that have a heart attack, a cancer, because still, well, they have millions in the bank account, but they still haven't worked that part, and it can take a hit on their health. So, how you discovered these? Any resources you use? Writing your book, it was a process to heal yourself because you can get of your ideas out. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Okay. So I'm going to start, I think, at the ending and work my way to the beginning here. One, product market fit is really, really hard to get, right? That's really challenging to do. Most businesses never achieve it, right? This
Mm-hmm.
is why most businesses go out of business in their first year. It is a
100%.
wildly challenging thing to do. Humanity should accept the fact that when a business leader finds product market fit, that is a hard thing to do. It is not luck. Sometimes there's luck involved. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it is hard to do. So let's just take that and put it over there by itself.
And emotionally, you get kind of affected, especially if you never have any business before, if it's your first time.
And when you get product market fit, you get rewarded drastically, right? Because it's hard,
Absolutely.
right? It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to get. You get rewarded. You also get slapped around a lot because nobody understands what real growing pains are, right? I was enough to be in 1999 part of the fifth fastest growing company in the country. I learned what growing pains are, right? You can't get, the country doesn't make things fast enough for you to serve your customers. Like that, like the world
Oh,
doesn't make
wow.
things fast enough
Wow.
for you to serve the demand sometimes, right? That's
That's
how
it. That's
product, I mean, you're talking about 1999 when every company in the world needed to get a website. Talk about product market
Mm-hmm.
fit,
Oh,
right? It's
wow.
flooding in. So it's hard and you get rewarded wildly when you do it. People have limiting beliefs. One of the biggest limiting beliefs that America has, thank you, Rockefeller, is that abundance of any kind is hard to achieve. And anything that's easy to get doesn't have valuable. It doesn't have any value, right? So whenever we achieve a really hard thing that not a lot of people do on the planet, and the narrative is, oh, he got lucky, it starts messing in our own mind. And that, oh, he got lucky is negative talk. That's not positive talk. That's not imagining. That's not believing, right? That's a core value. It's witchcraft. It's bad. So you got to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Accept the fact that you did something that's really hard to do. It might have been easy for you, but it's hard for a lot of people on the planet to do. You might have gotten
It's
lucky.
hard
Oh
for
well,
everybody.
right? If you have the limiting belief that abundance requires a lot of work and that you don't deserve it unless you do work, what will end up happening, and this happens all the time, what people don't realize on large systems, that when a large system is working, every single variable change could have cascading wild effects. So when you get product market fit and you've got that machine running, you shut up and you do the work that's coming in. And if you don't want to do that work, you hire people or you create AIs to do it,
100%,
and you let that thing
100%.
run, and you enjoy your life
And
because you there. And from a man that has made it more times and lost it more times than most people on this planet, I've had more rough
welcome to my life.
than you can imagine. I wouldn't change it for anything. That's
In
the hard
process.
truth. It is hard to do. You somewhere in your mind, you let those people say, "Oh, you got lucky," seep in, and you're not acknowledging the fact that you work damn hard to get where you're at, and now it's your time to reward the benefits of that. Right? That's where you're at. And
the issue
but it's
can
hard.
that out there, there people are the only person that can understand is someone that actually had done it, and because there are very few of us now, we are more solitary. Okay, you said it's hard, and somebody that haven't done it say, "Oh, it's hard, whatever." But they like, for example, my parents, they will never understand what I true. Yeah,
No.
to or no one. I know that you understand because you've been through that process. But so we can talk about the subject, and we can. But somebody that is out of that scenario, they coming with exactly what you said, with the talk that is not constructive. Yeah, and it's not that you can go to a doctor, to a psychologist. Even if your psychologist is not entrepreneur, it's not going to work for you because it can be the best doctor, the PhD, the master university, whatever. If the guy is not an entrepreneur, he won't be able to work with you because he doesn't never understand. Okay, so by the end of the day, can all our entrepreneurs, we have to become our own psychologists ourselves, because I think that every time I meet amazing people like you in this podcast, I don't know anymore if I do this podcast for the people or for myself, because every time that we have that conversation, see, the makes my day. But I say, well, you know what? I'm not alone. Someone at least understand what we've been through, and especially in companies, because one company is already. Oh, tell us about this, Ken, about being a serial entrepreneur, because it's already tough to have one business, to develop the brand, and to get more market fit. Now, completely different ball game is to have several companies, especially what you have in different fields, because tech, the gyms, they are the value. That's why before the podcast we had that conversation about the 5 step how to make the first million, because you tell me, Harry, industries are different, depend on the price, depend on what is gonna get involved. It's not the same in tech like in retail, like a gym or whatever. So why you decide not to become an entrepreneur, but to become a serial entrepreneur, which is something that's gonna take more effort and planning, and again, you
Yeah.
cannot change yourself, your culture, who you are. It had to be present in all those businesses, in the tech business, in the gym business, in everything, because this your culture, who you are, is what the same people that you will attract to your company. This is they actually work for you because they have the same value that you have. Why they don't last? The people that don't have the values that I have in my company, they last very little. To my team, for example, every time that they to work, they know, look, this is here in my organization. This we are little people, and we have to do a lot of things. Okay, so when we bring the team members, we already told them this is 360. Even this podcast, I told my team, I said, look, I want to do a podcast, and they told me, Harry, what's that? And I said, I don't know. I said, well, we don't know either. They told me, Harry, give me 3 weeks. Give us 3 weeks, and we're coming back with everything. We don't know. We need to search. And after 3 weeks, they come back and they tell me, Harry, you know what? Just do the recording, do the video. It will go to your social media. Everything is automatic. It's all set up. It's all done, right? I never, in the last 18 years that I've been in business, no one from my team never told me, Harry, this is not my job, okay? Because this is my culture. This is how we operate, and we bring them like this. And whoever had the culture that is very specific, task orientated, that maybe is good for another company, well, it's fit in another company, but in ours, unfortunately, doesn't work. And these employees eventually they last 1 year, 2 years, but they eventually check out themselves because they don't fit the culture, because this is how I rock and roll, or this is how I operate. And the people that stay working with me for years operate like this. So how you manage to bring people from your own culture in different businesses. Look, you laughing, it's tough. Yeah. Tell us the recipe.
Culture is really challenging. It's very challenging. As being a
Tell me about
software
it.
engineer
Tell
and
me
then
about it.
bringing software packages into a new culture, like I was part of the team that wrote a new back office for AOL, right? And we had to
Oh,
change their
wow.
culture.
With the legacy and everything. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What a headache. Wow.
So a huge culture change, right? Of high value to low, from a $29 product to a $9 product, all those things. It's wild. I look at this a couple different ways, right? And so at my boxing school, we have a very specific output that we're creating, right? We're creating either a fitness product for a 30 to 50-year-old person, male or female, that's going through a transition in life, or we're creating a competition youth boxer, right? We have one that's going to be competing for a national title here in just a couple of weeks, right? So we do that at the lowest scale and the highest scale all the way across the board. We control the culture there at an amazingly high pace, right? We have core value posters on the walls. We say them before every single class. We call each other out whenever we're not living up to our core values. We're a community that has a very specific high output requirement. I've also got the comedy world where it's loose and goosey and we're going into a bar to help promote the bar and create more business with them, and it's the bar owner's culture that we have to adopt and adjust to and go the way. For social media websites, I used to make a lot of these back in the hot or not days. What I really liked doing was creating a community website that was kind of generic, getting people in there and seeing what the people created, right? So I think you can develop culture in different ways. In a business that you have a specific outcome that you're required to, right? Like I've worked with a couple autistic companies that have autistic kids that output a product. Their business is take care of those kids. It's not cookies that those kids are making, right? So
100%.
understanding the culture that you're trying to create, and if you see it getting out of line, step from what you're wanting. You as the business owner, it's your requirement to know what kind of culture you want to create. It's your job to create it. I see a lot of business owners that don't take that really seriously at all. And then they're running a business that they don't even understand. Like they own this business, but they're like, I don't know anything that goes on in it. My director of operations has set the culture. It's really the director of operations company. If he's setting the culture, right? The owner's getting the benefit, but it's that director of operations company. He can keep that company much faster than the entrepreneur can.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Ken, all of them people that we interview in this podcast, when we said, okay, if you had to start all over again, what would you do different? Most of the time, the answer is culture. They told me, Harry, if I knew that it's gonna take me 10, 20 times difficult to make the business pro market fit that what what I thought, I will pay more attention to culture, to the people that were there for me from the beginning, to try to the right people, to try to uh, you as be different as well, because you just know that they are the reflection of you. You just don't know that if you said I don't care, when they're gonna say that I don't care. The other day, was with the company, giving some feedback to this, and the CEO, I said, look, you have to focus in ads. He said, I was told you need to focus more in sales and marketing, and the CEO told me, Harry, this is not my job. I'm like, what? Is it not your? Yeah,
Everything's his job.
what think that you are? Do you think that you're in an employee as a Microsoft that you can tell this is not your job? Everything is your job, man. What are you talking about? What kind of company you gonna have if I'm telling you this is not my job? If the CEO say this is not my job, who do you think that the rest of the company is gonna say when you set a task? Okay, this is not my and it's a small company, so they are the reflection of you, and we have to evolve. Okay, and find and work on ourselves and find peace. So Ken, tell us about the name of your book, where people will buy it, why you decide to write this book, and what is your favorite chapter.
Oh wow, that's hard. My
Look,
book is Reclaim Sobriety. It's my
I like the
story of
title.
sobriety. Reclaim
Oh
Sobriety.
wow.
Yeah, it's 12 rounds of sobriety. I was adopted, and my first in AA, I was 13 years old, and I got liver disease at the age of 40, alcohol-related liver disease. I was given 2 years to live if I keep drinking, and I had to quit drinking. This is when I bought the boxing school.
Oh
Right?
wow, that's very difficult to quit drinking, because it has
Yeah.
your chemical. It's very wow.
And I spent 7 years miserably sober, relapses, all that stuff, right? Doing the gym, doing all those things. And then finally that night in Georgia, when I decided I need to adopt the core values that I'm teaching these kids, that's when my life,
Something shift.
it felt the last color of the Rubik's Cube finally got there. Like I had my life together. Married, kids, houses, businesses, speaking at like doing all this shit, right? But I
But
wasn't
miss sober. I get it.
I I wasn't in my body. I was constantly struggling this thing that I wanted that I couldn't have, and it was always this I'm trying to get something that I'm not allowed to have, and it was a constant struggle until that day I'm like I need to adopt the values. And it's funny because I've done so many AAs and so many smart recoveries where they talk about hierarchy of values and they talk about all these things, but I couldn't hear it. I didn't see it really, right? Until I really, really had it, saw my teachings, I saw other people really change into something that I admired in them. I
Oh
saw
wow.
stuff in there that I'm looking up to, and these are 13-year-old kids. And I'm like,
Mm,
how am I
wow.
doing it with them, but I can't do it for myself?
Wow.
And I decided at that moment to become my own coach and really again and say, hey, I'm going to change this and I'm going to figure it out. And that's when I learned about post-acute withdrawal syndrome,
Mhm, mhm,
self-identity, neuro-linguistic programming, neuroflow coaching, all of these things. And I'm like, oh shit, I've been sitting in a room for
mhm,
decades standing up saying, I'm an alcoholic. Hi, my name's Ken. I'm an alcoholic. Guess what I am? Guess what I'll
mhm,
never not be? I'll
mhm.
never not be an alcoholic if I stand up
Very
every
good.
week and say, my name is Ken, I'm an
Absolutely.
alcoholic. And I think that that
Mhm,
is one of the most devastating things that you can do to a human on this planet. And I'm not
mhm,
saying that people shouldn't use AA the first time or understand their problem, but it is
mhm,
not a program that's going to keep people sober and happy for their lifetime.
mhm.
It's got a lot of great
That's something
tools.
something to shift, yeah.
But until
And
you decide this is how I'm going to live and this is who I am, and you
mhm.
know who you are, then the world is going to just throw you around like a paper towel.
And it's time. And
Oh man,
the interesting thing is, after you do all this work and you work on yourself and everything, you arrive only to one conclusion. You know what is it? That you don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore. You know.
no.
And then it takes time. Took years for me to finally realize that I don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore. And from that space, you live with such freedom, and that you bring that energy to your kid, to your business, to everybody, and you can do a lot of good things for people out there. But it
Now when
takes
you show
time.
up, which people don't know how to
Hmm.
take,
But
right?
when
When
we
you
start,
show up,
can we start like we want to make a million? I can do this. We're gonna do this, and a big deal. I'm gonna achieve this, and then you fail, and then you continue, and you're trying to do something. It's like you're running, pushing like a machine without who you are and what you want to be and why you're doing all this in the first place. At the beginning,
yeah,
you think that you want to make that you're doing it for the money. After you realize that money, you're not doing it for the money, and then what for what I'm doing this, and it's a that takes years. So I'm glad that you have done that work. So what's your message? Last question. What's your message for entrepreneurs out there trying to get to product market fit, that they are stuck? They are angry like I was, because when I was in the first 2 years, I was angry. I was working like 14 hours every day. I was tired. I would even remember myself argue with the clients, with the customers, even with the team. I'm exhausted. I don't have time to eat. I'm eating in the evening and night. I'm very busy. I'm doing everything, wearing all the hats.
yeah.
And it's every day is a problem, and one more problem new, and then you lose money, you make money, you lose money in this process. So what's your message for those entrepreneurs that they are in at the moment in this journey of product market fit, that they are having a hard time?
I'm going to tell you where I screwed up the most in business. I love people. I like hanging out with people. When And when I hire somebody, I put some kind of magical sauce on the fact that I chose the right person for this job. When communication struggles pop up, right, and you realize that this person doesn't answer questions directly, or they don't, they're constantly kind of pushing boundaries, or just little stuff like that, we believe that firing somebody from our company is taking something away from them, and it's being mean to them for some reason. And I don't know why we believe that. It
About it,
feels
yeah.
that way, like I'm being mean to you and I'm
I feel
taking something away from
responsible.
you.
I'm responsible. Whoever make a mistake, I'm responsible. I need to. It's my fault. So, yeah.
However, if you're in those problems with the staff, you have to get rid of them from your company. You have to remove them from your company and your life completely. It creates resentments, and it's a cycle that just never stops. And it's horrible, and it's really, really challenging. And that's the problem. But you really like these people, so you don't let them go. You're like, oh, this is just a communication problem. Everybody's got communication problems. It's literally like, hey, man, this is the way we communicate. We communicate open and honestly, directly. We don't not answer questions. Like, this is how we operate. And if you can't do that, then you can't be part of this team.
There is no culture
right?
match. It's not
And
gonna.
so letting people go that have different communication styles for the department or the company is you're giving them a gift of not dealing with the resentment and the constant torture of working together for a long period of time. It's hard to do.
And
It
requires a
is
lot of
so
time and
vital.
energy. I use a lot of time and energy. This is something I discovered. Trying to to work with this team, with this employee, to see if they can actually fit with the culture. But during the years I realized that at the end of the day, if there is no culture match,
Doesn't
finally
work.
they check out. I cannot. I'll try my best. I put money, energy, time, whatever it resources, training. If there is the core value culture is not there between yourself and the employees, they don't resonate with that culture, is eventually it doesn't
You're
work.
putting oil on an uphill climb.
Yeah, yeah. It's
It's
hard. It's
and it
hard.
won't.
It's a
It
challenging
might work.
process because yeah. Sometimes not even you who hide the person. Somebody can just make a mistake. And then I always tell it to my team, well, it doesn't matter who make a mistake hiding the person. The person's already inside the
Not
organization.
even a
Let's make
mistake.
this
Gotta
work.
get.
Yeah, you try 1 year, 6 months. Finally,
I
rarely,
look at that.
to recover someone.
I look at
In
that
my
process now
experience.
like mining gold. You're gonna get a lot of dirt. Doesn't
Mhm.
mean the dirt's bad, but you got to go through the dirt, right? To
Oh, I
get the
love the
gold,
analogy.
you got to get
I,
through the dirt. The dirt's not
oh
bad.
wow,
It
I
just is
love the
what it is.
analogy. Very good.
So
I
and
love
I
it.
love dirt.
Me
I
too.
played it.
Yeah. Ken, so if somebody is in love with this conversation, I want to find your book, find more about your journey and your company, how people can find you, how this process works. Can you share this with us?
Absolutely. The best way to get into my ecosystem as a whole is just go to kencox.com, KenCox.com. You'll have from there, you can kind of divvy out into all my other little shenanigans that I work on. That's the landing spot for me. If you're executive looking to get into AI at all, I've got a lot of different programs at different levels to help you there. But
Oh, wow. Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I think that, people thinking that AI is like the new flavor of the day in tech. Tech, you have NFT, blockchain, crypto. And this AI thing is, I think that the last revolution we had, it was the invention of internet. The invention of the websites, but the invention of the internet. And they came websites, the social media, X, Y, and Z. But this generative I think, Ken, that we are in front of the next revolution. It's now a new tech flavor of the day. Is a new revolution, and people say,
It's
well,
different.
AI is going to take my job. Well, AI is not going to take your job, but if you don't embrace it and start to use it, it's not going to be job for anybody because the company going to collapse. You go out of business. So we better need to and to know how to use that thing if we want to
I'm
stay in
hopeful that
business
we
and
have
job.
a multiple economy solution to this
Hmm.
problem.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
we
I
have
love
more
it.
options for people, more options
100%.
for how people live their lives is what I really, really hope. Whole America is, you know, low, middle, upper class kind of, and unfortunately right now it's kind of even segregating to lower class and upper, like the divide's getting bigger with AI. Um,
Mm, mm.
hopefully that can flatten and people can opt out of different systems and go
Options.
like the Amish have an option, right? They've created a different society for themselves.
For them,
right?
and they were happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's going to be that drastic, but I see a world where we're going to have more fractured like that. And you know, who I feel the most sorry for right now is the mayors of towns across the country. They're going to be hit first with these problems.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ken. That has been fantastic interview. I think you're brilliant. So clever. Man, I love the comedy thing. That's amazing. You know, I play tennis. You know, you need to do all the things outside your business. I also done salsa, do this, do that, because we have that time also, you know, give us stay in the right mindset, and we have to have our mind. We know that we need to have our mind clear and healthy, because a lot of people depend on us, employees, and et cetera, et cetera. And thank you so much. And for all of you following the podcast, see you in our next episode. How great entrepreneurs like Ken break the wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.